You wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep. Your mind starts racing before your feet even hit the floor. You feel on edge, easily irritated, constantly thinking, constantly doing, but somehow never really feeling okay. And the scariest part? You've gotten used to it. It feels normal. But what if I told you this isn't your normal state at all? What if your body has been stuck in stress mode for so long that you've forgotten what calm actually feels like? Because here's the truth most people never hear. Your body is not designed to live in constant stress. It's designed to handle stress in short bursts and then return to a state of balance. But modern life has completely flipped that system upside down. Notifications, deadlines, financial pressure, social media, lack of sleep, processed food, constant noise. Your brain is being hit from every direction all day long. And your nervous system? It never gets the signal that it's safe to relax. So instead of stress being something that comes and goes, it becomes your baseline, your default setting. And once that happens, everything starts to change. Your energy drops, but your mind stays wired. Your sleep becomes lighter, shorter, or completely broken. Your digestion slows down, causing bloating, discomfort, and cravings. Your hormones start to shift, especially cortisol, the main stress hormone, which stays elevated when it should naturally fall. And over time, this doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects how your entire body functions. This is what it means to be stuck in stress mode, and most people are living in it without even realizing it. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you felt truly relaxed, not distracted, not scrolling, not numbing yourself with entertainment, but genuinely calm, present, and at ease? For most people, that moment is hard to remember, because your nervous system has two main states. One is the fight or flight mode. This is your survival system. It kicks in when your brain thinks you're in danger. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles tighten, your focus narrows. This is incredibly useful if you're running from a threat, but not if you're just trying to get through your day. The other state is rest and digest. This is where your body heals, recovers, digests food properly, repairs tissues, balances hormones, and restores energy. This is where real health happens. But here's the problem. You can't be in both at the same time. And if your body is constantly stuck in fight or flight, your healing system is basically turned off. That's why people can eat healthy, go to the gym, try supplements, and still feel exhausted, anxious, and off. Because if your nervous system isn't regulated, nothing else works the way it should. Now let's go deeper, because this is where it gets really important. Chronic stress doesn't just make you feel anxious, it rewires your brain. Your brain starts scanning for threats all the time. Small problems feel bigger, your patience drops, your emotional reactions become stronger. Even things that used to be easy start to feel overwhelming. At the same time, your body is pumping out cortisol throughout the day. And cortisol isn't bad, you actually need it. It helps you wake up in the morning and stay alert. But when it stays high for too long, it starts causing damage. It breaks down muscle tissue. It increases fat storage, especially around the belly. It messes with your blood sugar levels, leading to crashes and cravings. It weakens your immune system, making you more likely to get sick. And it disrupts your sleep cycle, which then makes everything worse the next day. It becomes a loop. Stress creates poor sleep. Poor sleep increases stress, and round you go. And here's the part nobody talks about enough. You don't have to feel stressed for your body to be in stress mode. You can feel numb, tired, unmotivated, disconnected. That's still stress. That's your system being overwhelmed for so long that it starts shutting down instead of speeding up. So if you've been feeling like this, you're not lazy, you're not broken, your body is just stuck in the wrong state. The good news is, you can reset it, but not by doing more, by doing the right things. Because the mistake most people make is trying to fight stress with intensity. More workouts, more caffeine, more productivity hacks. But that just keeps your nervous system activated. What your body actually needs is signals of safety. And these signals are simple, but powerful. Let's start with something that sounds almost too basic. Your breathing. When you're stressed, your breathing becomes fast and shallow, usually from your chest. This sends a message to your brain that something is wrong. But when you slow your breathing down, especially through your nose, and extend your exhales, you send the opposite signal. You tell your body, it's okay to relax. Try this. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 6 to 8 seconds. Do this for just a couple of minutes. You'll start to feel a shift. Your heart rate slows, your muscles loosen, your mind becomes a little quieter. This isn't just mental, it's biological. Now imagine doing this consistently throughout your day. That's how you begin to retrain your nervous system. Another powerful reset tool is something most people ignore: your environment. Your brain is constantly reading your surroundings. Noise, clutter, lighting, even the people around you, all of these send signals to your nervous system. If your environment is chaotic, loud, and overwhelming, your body stays on alert. But when you create moments of calm, even small ones, you start changing that signal. This could be as simple as stepping outside for fresh air, sitting in silence for a few minutes, reducing unnecessary noise, or even just putting your phone away and giving your brain a break from constant input. Because here's the truth: your mind is not built to process endless stimulation. And the more you give it, the more stressed it becomes. Now let's talk about movement, because this is where people get it wrong. Exercise is amazing for stress, but only when it's done right. If you're already overwhelmed and exhausted, pushing your body with intense workouts every day can actually increase stress hormones. That doesn't mean you should stop moving. It means you need to choose the right kind of movement. Walking, stretching, light strength training, yoga, these can be incredibly powerful because they help release tension without overwhelming your system. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your body is to slow down instead of push harder. And then there's sleep, the most underrated reset tool of all. If your sleep is off, everything else becomes harder. Your stress tolerance drops, your mood shifts, your energy crashes, and your body doesn't get the chance to repair itself. So instead of just trying to sleep more, focus on preparing your body for sleep. Dim the lights at night, reduce screen time before bed, keep a consistent sleep schedule, and most importantly, give your mind time to slow down. Because you can't go from high stimulation straight into deep rest. Your body needs a transition. Even something as simple as reading, journaling, or breathing exercises before bed can make a huge difference. Now here's something that might surprise you. Your thoughts themselves can keep you stuck in stress mode. If your mind is constantly focused on problems, worst-case scenarios, or things you can't control, your body reacts as if those threats are real. This doesn't mean you should ignore reality, but it does mean you need to become aware of where your attention is going, because your attention is powerful. What you focus on, your body feels. So start noticing your patterns. Are you constantly rushing, overthinking, expecting the worst? These are all signals your brain is sending to your body. And once you become aware, you can start shifting them. Not perfectly, but gradually. Because resetting your body isn't about flipping a switch overnight. It's about giving your system consistent signals that it's safe again. And the more you do that, the more your body starts to respond. You'll notice your breathing becomes deeper without thinking about it. Your sleep improves, your energy stabilizes, your mind feels clearer, your reactions become calmer. You start feeling like yourself again. And that's the real goal here. Not perfection, not constant productivity, but balance. Because your body is incredibly smart. It wants to heal. It wants to feel good. But it can only do that when it's not stuck in survival mode. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or just off lately, don't ignore it. Your body is trying to tell you something. It's not asking you to do more. It's asking you to slow down, to listen, and to reset. And the best part? You don't need a complicated plan. Start small. Take a few deep breaths. Step outside. Move your body gently. Give yourself moments of quiet. And watch what happens. Because when you finally bring your body out of stress mode, everything changes. Your gut health is directly affected by chronic stress. And I don't mean just a little bloating or occasional stomach discomfort. I mean your entire digestive system, your nutrient absorption, your immune function, even your mood can be completely altered by how stressed your body is. You see, most people think of stress as something that only affects your mind. You get anxious, your thoughts race, your heart pounds. But in reality, stress is one of the most powerful forces shaping your physical health. And your gut is on the front lines of that battle. Every time your nervous system flips into fight or flight mode, your body prioritizes survival. That makes sense, right? If you're running from danger, your body needs to divert blood and energy to your muscles, to your lungs, to your brain, so you can react quickly. But the trade-off is everything else. Everything non-essential for immediate survival slows down or shuts off. That includes digestion. Your stomach doesn't get the signals to produce digestive enzymes. Your intestines don't get the coordinated muscular movement to move food efficiently. Your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in your gut, gets disrupted. Chronic stress doesn't just temporarily slow your digestion. Over time, it rewires your gut's function, and that can lead to bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and even more serious conditions like irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory gut disorders. And it's not just mechanical. The connection between your brain and your gut, what scientists call the gut-brain axis, is a two-way street. Your brain sends signals to your gut, but your gut also sends signals to your brain. That means chronic stress can literally alter the balance of bacteria in your intestines, changing how your gut communicates with your brain. Some bacteria thrive in stressful environments, while others die off or decrease in diversity. And this imbalance, known as dysbiosis, can affect how your body handles inflammation, how you process nutrients, and even how your mood and anxiety levels develop. In other words, stress doesn't just upset your stomach. It can change the chemical signals that influence whether you feel calm, anxious, happy, or depressed. Think about the times you've had to deal with a high-pressure situation, maybe a work deadline, an argument, or some unexpected challenge. Did you notice your stomach tightening? Did you feel butterflies, nausea, or sudden hunger pangs? That's not just a coincidence. That's your gut responding to the chemical cocktail your body releases when stressed. Cortisol spikes, adrenaline surges, blood is pulled away from your digestive tract. Your gut suddenly feels like it's on edge, and if that happens too often, your gut lining itself can become compromised. Leaky gut, inflammation, increased sensitivity to foods, all of these are linked to chronic stress. And what many people don't realize is that poor gut health can then loop back to make stress even worse. When your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, it produces more inflammatory cytokines, chemical signals that travel to your brain. Those signals can increase feelings of anxiety, irritability, and brain fog. So you end up in this vicious cycle. Stress impacts your gut signals stress back to your brain, and the cycle keeps repeating, often without you even noticing. Diet plays a huge role here as well, and it's deeply intertwined with stress. Chronic stress often drives cravings for high sugar, high fat, processed foods, because your body is looking for quick energy to deal with perceived threats. These foods are easy, fast, and comforting in the moment, but they don't feed your microbiome the nutrients it needs to thrive. Over time, your gut bacteria shift, favoring strains that can tolerate sugar and fat, while beneficial strains that produce calming neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin decrease. And yes, your gut produces a significant amount of serotonin, the feel-good chemical. So when stress messes with your microbiome, it also impacts your mental well-being. Even the way you eat matters under stress. Ever notice how when you're anxious or rushed, you eat too quickly, barely chewing, or you skip meals entirely? Those patterns disrupt your gut's ability to break down food properly, absorb nutrients, and maintain a healthy environment for beneficial bacteria. Stress slows gastric emptying, meaning food sits in your stomach longer than it should. Or, in some cases, it speeds up transit time, leading to diarrhea. Either extreme stresses your gut and further reinforces the cycle of imbalance. Sleep, or lack thereof, is another powerful factor here. Chronic stress often leads to poor sleep quality, and insufficient sleep is a known disruptor of gut health. Your gut bacteria follow circadian rhythms just like your body does. When you sleep poorly, bacterial diversity decreases, inflammatory signals increase, and your gut's ability to recover from the stress of the day diminishes. It's not just a coincidence that people who are sleep-deprived often experience bloating, indigestion, and other gut complaints. Sleep and stress regulation are deeply interconnected, and your gut sits right in the middle of that balance. Now let's talk about inflammation. Chronic stress triggers low-grade systemic inflammation, which impacts the lining of your gut. That lining is supposed to act as a selective barrier, allowing nutrients through while keeping harmful compounds out. But stress-induced inflammation makes this lining more permeable. Leaky gut allows particles, toxins, and bacteria to enter your bloodstream, which then triggers immune responses. That immune activation feeds back into your body's stress system, keeping cortisol elevated and making it even harder to recover. This isn't just a digestive problem, it's a full-body problem. Your energy levels drop, your immunity weakens, and your risk for chronic illnesses increases. Exercise and movement can influence this connection too, but the type and intensity matter. Moderate activity improves gut motility, encourages healthy bacterial diversity, and helps regulate stress hormones. But overtraining or high-intensity exercise without proper recovery can increase cortisol and create additional stress on your gut. It's all about balance. Your gut thrives when your body isn't being pushed to the edge constantly, when your nervous system can switch between activation and rest, and when movement supports rather than overwhelms. Stress management techniques like mindfulness, deep breathing, meditation, or even simple practices like walking in nature, listening to calming music, or journaling can have a direct impact on gut health. By reducing chronic cortisol exposure, these practices improve digestion, support healthy microbiome diversity, and help repair gut lining integrity. In other words, calming your mind literally feeds your gut, and in turn, feeds your overall health. Supplements and dietary choices can support this process, but they aren't magic bullets. Probiotics, prebiotics, and fermented foods can help restore balance to your microbiome, but without addressing the underlying stress, the benefits are limited. Stress is the overriding factor here. Your body, your brain, and your gut are connected in a complex network. If one is under persistent stress, the others feel it immediately. Even hydration plays a role. Chronic stress can alter your electrolyte balance and fluid distribution, affecting digestion and gut motility. Staying hydrated, especially with mineral-rich fluids, supports your gut's ability to function efficiently under stress. And fiber, while important, must be introduced thoughtfully. Too much too quickly can stress an already sensitive digestive system. The emotional aspect cannot be underestimated either. Stress often brings heightened emotional sensitivity, which feeds into behaviors that affect your gut. Overeating, undereating, binging, or avoiding food entirely can all stem from emotional stress. These behaviors then impact bacterial diversity and digestive function, reinforcing the physical symptoms of stress in a feedback loop. Even social interactions matter. Isolation, conflict, or chronic tension in relationships triggers stress responses that affect gut health. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between types of stress. Social stress triggers the same fight-or-flight response as physical threats, altering gut motility, enzyme secretion, and microbial composition. Cultivating supportive relationships and healthy communication patterns isn't just good for your mental health, it directly benefits your digestive system. Environmental stressors like noise, light pollution, or even exposure to chemicals in food and water can also subtly impact your gut over time. While these may seem unrelated to stress at first glance, your body perceives any persistent challenge as a potential threat, triggering hormonal changes that influence gut function. This is why holistic approaches, considering diet, lifestyle, environment, and mental health, are so critical for truly supporting gut health under stress. Chronic stress doesn't just affect digestion in the short term. Over months and years, it can increase your susceptibility to gastrointestinal diseases, alter immune responses, and even affect nutrient absorption at a cellular level. Deficiencies in essential vitamins and minerals, which are often seen in chronically stressed individuals, can impair gut function further. And the effects aren't isolated. This impacts energy, immunity, hormone regulation, mood, and cognitive performance. One of the most fascinating aspects of this connection is how early life stress can shape gut health for decades. Research shows that stress in childhood or adolescence can alter gut microbiota development, influence immune function, and even predispose individuals to digestive and mood disorders later in life. This underscores how deeply stress and gut health are intertwined, not just in the present, but across a lifetime. Even your sensory experiences, like taste and smell, are impacted by chronic stress in ways that influence gut function. Stress can alter appetite regulation, cravings, and digestion efficiency, all of which feed back into the microbiome and overall gut health. The key takeaway here is that your gut doesn't just digest food. It digests your life experiences, your emotions, your environment, and your stress levels. When stress becomes chronic, your gut is the first system to show signs of imbalance, and it's also one of the first systems that can signal recovery when balance is restored. If you've been struggling with digestive discomfort, bloating, irregular bowel movements, or unexplained food sensitivities, it's worth looking at your stress patterns. Not just the obvious stressors, but the subtle, chronic ones that quietly keep your nervous system in fight-or-flight mode. Addressing these is not optional. It's essential if you want your gut and your body to function optimally. Blood sugar spikes and crashes increase stress responses, and most people have no idea just how much their daily energy and mood swings are controlled by the foods they eat and the timing of those foods. When you consume something high in sugar or simple carbohydrates, think pastries, sodas, white bread, or even some healthy energy bars, your blood sugar shoots up rapidly. That spike gives you a quick burst of energy, maybe even a temporary sense of alertness or motivation, but it's short-lived. Your body responds by releasing insulin, a hormone that helps shuttle sugar from your blood into your cells for energy or storage. When insulin works overtime to bring that blood sugar down, it can overshoot, leading to a sharp drop, also known as a crash. This is the moment when you feel irritable, anxious, tired, or foggy. Your body interprets that sudden drop as a form of stress, and your nervous system responds accordingly. Cortisol and adrenaline surge to bring your energy back up, and suddenly, what started as a meal or snack has triggered a full-blown stress response. These spikes and crashes don't just happen once or twice. They can occur multiple times a day, depending on your diet. Every time they happen, your nervous system is forced into activation. Your adrenal glands release stress hormones, and your body is essentially running in a state of alert. Over time, this creates a constant low-level stress environment in your body. Even if you're sitting at a desk and everything seems fine, your internal systems are reacting as though they're under attack. You might not feel the immediate fight-or-flight sensations like racing heart or sweaty palms, but internally, your body is stressed and responding as if it's in danger. This pattern of repeated blood sugar fluctuations also affects your brain. The brain relies almost entirely on glucose for energy, but it needs a steady, consistent supply. When blood sugar spikes and then crashes, your brain experiences periods of high energy, followed by relative starvation. That inconsistency can impair focus, increase anxiety, and trigger emotional volatility. People often reach for caffeine or more sugary foods to compensate, which only perpetuates the cycle. Over time, this dysregulation contributes to chronic stress responses, mood swings, and even increased cravings for the very foods that caused the problem in the first place. Another consequence of blood sugar swings is how they influence the autonomic nervous system. When your blood sugar crashes, your sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight branch, is activated. This causes an increase in heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and rapid shallow breathing, all hallmarks of a stress response. Your body is trying to mobilize energy quickly because it perceives a threat from the low glucose levels. Even if that threat is completely fabricated by the foods you've eaten, your body doesn't know the difference. It reacts as though you're in a real emergency, keeping your stress hormones elevated for longer than necessary. This chronic activation has systemic effects. Your adrenal glands, responsible for producing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, can become overworked, which can lead to fatigue, hormonal imbalances, and a diminished ability to respond appropriately to future stress. Your metabolism is affected as well. Frequent spikes and crashes can promote insulin resistance, weight gain, and inflammation, all of which further perpetuate stress in the body. The more your blood sugar fluctuates, the harder it becomes for your body to maintain balance, and the more your nervous system stays stuck in a heightened state of alert. Even micro-fluctuations that you might not consciously notice are enough to trigger these stress pathways. Your body is highly sensitive to changes in glucose levels, and the mechanisms that detect and respond to those changes are finely tuned. A small rise in sugar triggers insulin release. A small drop triggers cortisol release. It's not just about feeling jittery or sleepy. It's about the cellular and hormonal environment in your body being constantly pushed in a stress-inducing cycle. It's important to recognize that not all carbohydrates are created equal. Complex carbohydrates, fiber-rich foods, proteins, and healthy fats slow the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream, reducing spikes and preventing crashes. When you pair protein or fat with carbs, your body gets a more stable release of energy, your brain stays fueled consistently, and your stress hormones don't spike unnecessarily. Eating this way helps train your nervous system to remain calmer throughout the day, rather than being constantly triggered by sudden glucose fluctuations. Timing and meal structure are also crucial. Skipping meals or going long periods without food increases the likelihood of extreme blood sugar drops, which forces your body into stress mode. Even if you eat healthy foods later, that prolonged fasting can trigger cortisol release and increase overall stress levels. Eating smaller, balanced meals or snacks at regular intervals stabilizes blood sugar, reduces the frequency of stress hormone spikes, and helps keep your nervous system in a more relaxed state. Hydration plays a role too, because dehydration amplifies blood sugar swings. Water helps transport glucose efficiently and supports insulin function. When you're even slightly dehydrated, your body has to work harder to manage blood sugar, which can create additional stress on both your adrenal glands and nervous system. Electrolytes, especially magnesium, also influence blood sugar regulation. Low magnesium levels, common in people under chronic stress, can worsen glucose spikes and crashes, further linking dietary and mineral deficiencies to stress responses. Managing blood sugar to reduce stress responses isn't just about avoiding sweets. It's about creating a consistent, supportive environment for your body through mindful eating, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, proper hydration, and stress management practices. When you stabilize your blood sugar, your nervous system receives fewer false alarms, your adrenal glands get a break, and your body can shift toward repair, recovery, and balance instead of constant alertness.